Hi everybody, it's Kim again. Happy Thursday today. It's 12 o'clock where I am and the sun is actually shining, which is great to see. It was really raining earlier, so I don't like the rain that much. Anyway, today I wanted to talk to you about, I know there are quite a few people come into the group, so I just wanted to kind of give a brief intro of myself. My name is Kim Marshall and I work with people with eating disorders, particularly anorexia. I've recovered from anorexia and bulimia myself, so I kind of know what it's like, and I know that a lot of my clients like working with me for the fact that I do know what it's like, and there's not a darn thing that they can say that I'm surprised about or that I don't get, because I understand pretty much everything what they are feeling, because I've been there. So yeah, and I work with them the thing that helped me was a technique called EFT, Emotional Freedom Techniques, or tapping as it's otherwise called. And that was the thing that really sort of like helped me and helped turn my life around. I couldn't see a way out. When I was kind of like, when things got really bad, I felt very trapped, very isolated, and I just couldn't see a way out at all. I didn't know what to do, and I'd gone through the sort of like the traditional routes to my GPs without much success. I know some people have really good and supportive GPs which they find incredibly helpful, and that's great, and I'm not knocking GPs because I think they're seriously under-resourced in terms of time and and knowledge about these things, but often it can come across as quite it really affects us, when we've kind of built up that courage, and we've gone along and we kind of feel that we're, this is a massive thing for us to kind of like go and confide in somebody that we need help, to going along and ask for help. And then we're kind of met with this response that just doesn't feel so inadequate and leaves us feeling all these emotions about it. And I totally get that. So the whole thing is sort of like with me is that I very much, I chose to kind of like use that as a reason to not, kind of like carry on and not to kind of like get any other help. I thought that was the way, that was the traditional route, and that there was, and the doors were being blocked for me. So hey ho, I just had to wait, or there was nothing. But it's like I always say, if you find that the door is kind of like shutting on you, go and find another door to open. Don't use it as a reason to not carry on, to not try. I know it can be really easy to, and there's almost a sense of relief in it, because you kind of tend to blame other people and that. But at the end of the day, people can help you, people can support you. But at the end of the day, if you don't want to be helped, then what can anybody do? It's really different, and I know it's really, really hard. And I work with my clients now, and, it's that famous saying about, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. So if you're going down the traditional route and you're not finding that it's helping, try and find another way. Because I waited and waited and waited, and I found that, as I was waiting, the iller I got, the less doors opened to me. There were less doors that I could actually try and open. And I remember phoning up sort of, I was willing to pay for treatment, because I was getting that desperate, things were getting that bad for me, that I would have, I placed a lot of value in. My life felt absolutely shit at that time, absolutely friggin' awful. I was, in such a tortured place that I didn't know how the hell to get out. I wanted to get out, well, part of me wanted to get out, but I didn't know what to do. And I remember reaching out for, for help, even sort of private sort of like therapists, and they said no, that I was too ill for them to help. And that, and then that didn't help me. And I ended up in residential treatment, and, and I came out as sort of like a healthier BMI, but my head was still the same, my mindset was still completely the same. I still wanted to use those old behaviours, those to kind of like in order to cope, because I didn't think that I could do it without, I didn't feel like I could cope with life without these things, and I went, I started smoking, I started drinking too much, all these other things that I was using because I didn't have like my eating disorder. Because that's what happens when you don't sort out the root causes. You tend to use other things to kind of like to help you cope, to help you feel better. Not necessarily a conscious choice, but that's what happens. So, as I said, about, if you're in that position now and you don't know what to do, you kind of like, there's part of you that wants to get out of where you are, but you don't know what to do about it. You can call me, or you can email me and we can have that chat. It's not about, I would love to be able to help as many people as I can, because, like I said, I know how crappy that it is. But if I'm not right for you, and I say this all the time, and I genuinely believe it, but if I'm not the right person for you, then that's okay, because I want you to, there is somebody out there that is right for you, that kind of like you can understand, that you kind of, who, when they talk, you kind of like, you connect with them, you resonate with them, go work with them, go work with that that person, because, in order to kind of trust, because when you work like this, there has to be some trust there, and so go work with that person that's right for you. And if that's me, then great, give me a call and we can talk about that. But don't let that be a reason to kind of like hold you back. Keep looking, keep moving forward, keep looking for ways that you can, to keep getting better, to sort of feel better about yourself. So I just wanted to talk to you today to tell you about how I work with people. And like I said, whether you've heard this before, I deal with the root issues. I don't look to sort of challenge eating disorder behaviours at the start. That needs to come from you. And the thing is that I believe that the behaviours that we kind of like grasp on so tightly, we have that as a result of those root core issues, the stuff that usually happened to us in childhood, and that's kind of like playing out subconsciously in our mind. It's what's created all the limiting or negative beliefs that we have about ourselves, the fact that we don't feel good enough, the fact that we feel we need to be perfect, the fact that we feel that we need to please everybody else, the fact that we, kind of like beat ourselves up all the time, and punish ourselves, and the fact that we think that's okay. The fact that, we put everybody else above us and we're kind of like on the lowest rung of the ladder sort of thing. The fact that we don't feel that we're worthy, we don't feel that we're special, we don't feel, good enough just as we are. Maybe we don't feel that we're attractive, we don't feel that we're lovable. Lots of these different things, we feel that we have to stay in control, we feel that we have to do it all ourselves, we might feel ashamed, we might feel angry, All these things are contributing to our eating disorder. So I deal with the root causes in order to change your mindset to how you think and feel about yourself, because that is the key to this work, you know. And, you know, as I always say, it's about getting you to feel stronger, more positive, more confident in yourself, so that then your eating disorder kind of just sort of gradually slips away. You know, you don't have that whole kind of like grip on it, you know, that desperate urge to kind of like keep to those behaviours to kind of keep you feel safe and in control, because you feel like that anyway. And it's like, and then letting go of your eating disorder becomes more of a natural kind of easier process, rather than a real kind of like fight or a challenge, or it feels kind of you know, forced on you, or you know, that kind of thing. So that's how I do it. And also, you know, you get a tool for life, so that, you know, and there's lots of people that say, you know, my eating disorder is always with me. You know, I'll never be totally free from it. I'm managing it right now, but it will always be with me. And I can see where they're coming from. But for me, it feels like I'm a volcano, okay? And I'm sort of sat inside this volcano. I'm kind of like, I guess I'm like the lava then, I suppose. And it feels like I am, you know, sort of like very dormant at the moment, and that, you know, food doesn't bother me, my eating doesn't bother me, I don't feel guilty, I feel really relaxed, you know, I can choose to eat healthy because I know it's good for me, but I also don't beat myself up or punish myself or anything like that if I actually have a day where I feel more hungrier than others. You know, there's a day when, oh gosh, it's just, you know, I feel ravenous today, you know, and it's usually around my monthly cycle and stuff like that, you know, but it's like that day where, oh gosh, just, you know, eating an apple just not going to do it for me, you know. I can sort of like, you know, eat all the healthy foods in the world and stuff, but it's just not doing it, and I need chocolate, you know, and that's okay, you know, it is okay. Because I always think, well, do you know what? If you kind of like are healthy around sort of like 80% of the time and stuff, and you kind of, you know, but you allow yourself to be kind of indulgent and to like, you know, to have treats or however you want to call it, you know, if you do that around 20% of the time and whatever, then life's good, you know. You're not depriving yourself of anything, you're still allowing yourself to have treats and stuff, but it doesn't like, you know, get out of hand and stuff like that. And I think that's a good sort of like way to be, you know. And if, you know, and so, and if there's days where you kind of like, you know, absolutely kind of like go the other way, and you just sort of like, you know, kind of thinking, no, I need lots of chocolate today and whatever, but then you spring back to your normal kind of way, everything balances out, you know. And that's the thing, it's about getting everything to be a balance, you know. It's about thinking all, you know, sort of like not about focus. I mean, yes, in recovery, I say it's all about, you know, one bite at a time and stuff, but in life, you know, in general, you want a balance in life, don't you? You want to feel balanced. You want to feel kind of like that, you know, all your eggs aren't in one basket, and if I have to keep them all in that basket in order to feel okay. And it's about feeling relaxed and, you know, not just around every sort of sense of you. You know, it's about feeling okay in a whole kind of range of sort of like aspects of your life. So yeah, so like the lava. Sorry, I'm gone off on a tangent then. The lava. So I know this tool, this EFT, this tapping tool, that I know that, I've done so much work on myself and I'm in so much better place, but I still regard myself as a work in progress. I have come to the sad truth that I am never going to be perfect. I might have perfect moments, but I'm never going to be perfect all of the time. And I'm okay with that now, and, it's almost like that striving for that perfect weight and stuff that I know is never going to happen. And perfection is never going to make me happy, because there is no ultimate perfection. And so again, I'm going to be kind of trying to reach for this goal that's I'm never going to get there. And to know that I am good enough. So anyway, I've gone back to on the lava again. So, the lava, this EFT tool that I have, any time that I get any sort of stresses or concerns or about any area of my life, and I have, I'm a single mom, I've got 2 teenage daughters, so, they kind of push my buttons every now and again. And so I know I have this tool so that it doesn't kind of like affect me that much, so that sort of stresses can stay little stresses and don't kind of like, snowball into extremities or anything. I have this tapping tool that I can use to calm myself down straight away with any kind of concerns, any stresses, any worries, so that I can nip it in the bud so that the lava stays dormant, the volcano stays dormant, and so it doesn't kind of like erupt, and I'm not tempted to get back into old habits again, so and I think that's, as good as life can get, and I don't feel like I'm managing my eating disorder, because I feel relaxed about it. I don't, I'm not thinking about food or eating or anything like that every day, or time can go and it doesn't bother me. But I have the tools that I need, in order to, if anything happens that they, could be a trigger, then I've got the resources to deal with that. And as I say, EFT is a really sort of gentle technique, and I know, I said about kind of like dealing with root issues and core issues that usually kick off around childhood, and I know that for a lot of us, the reason why we're not dealing with it, the reason that we're sort of choosing, or it's not a conscious choice, a subconscious choice, that we've chosen to use this eating disorder, but it is, we have used that in order to kind of get away, to avoid, to not think about these kind of like past events that have happened that kind of don't sit nicely with us and aren't very comfortable. And so the thought of kind of like, raking all that back up can feel quite, not very nice. And for those of you that may have done counselling or psychotherapy and that, these talking therapies, often it can be around, sort of trying to talk it to death, and the matter still isn't resolved. It still kind of like might hurt as much as it did. But, with the EFT, it's like we don't do that, I don't even need to know about, what the issue was, because we just deal with your emotions, how you feel about it. And what we can do is we don't have you kind of like jump back into the memory, so it kind of, all the pain kind of like comes up and re-traumatizes you. What we can do is kind of like, again, and I'm very keen on saying it's about baby steps, we kind of like, we can put these memories at the moon, and I've done that with clients. We put them at the moon or the other side of the universe or whatever, kind of like tap through how we feel about it being there, and then we bring it closer and closer and closer, gradually. And it's a really kind of like a way of kind of like limiting your kind of stresses around dealing with this. It's really gentle, so you don't have to feel all that pain through kind of like digging it all back up again. As I say before, I don't focus on goal weights or BMIs or meal plans and things like that. I literally get you focusing on feeling better, because to me that's the end result. If you feel better about yourself, if you feel good enough as you are, that's what my goal for you is, feeling stronger. Because it's really good to have a goal, as you're kind of like, you're going through this, but it's not around, what you look like or anything like that. It's about how you feel about yourself, because that to me is what true recovery is. Because I knew I could I could get to a certain weight, and it didn't matter whether I'd put on weight or whether I'd kind of lost weight. I still hated myself. So realistically, have I, am I recovered? Am I kind of getting better by going sort of down the scale or up the scale? It's about getting you feeling better about yourself, because to me that's what real recovery is. Okay, and again, just to kind of like talk about that whole recovery, because I know don't even necessarily like that recovery word, because we associate it with being sort of bigger and things like that, which again makes us feel uncomfortable. But of all the people that I've known that have, said that they are recovered, not one of them, have said that they regret doing so, of the work that they've done on themselves, that they've, that they've kind of like come through this process. Not one of them will tell you that they feel worse off for doing it, that they feel more tortured. They might have, there are people that could have, kind of restored some weight and still be kind of like struggling in that. But of those that have really recovered, they really, are so happy. And I have to say, from my own personal experience, I am such a better place than I ever was, even before I had that anorexia and that, even way before. I am a totally different person now to what I was. And, having anorexia has, it brought me to my knees, it put me on my butt, but what it did do is it made me work on myself. It made me focus on me. It made me put things right. It made me work on how I viewed myself, how I saw myself, how I felt about myself. And through doing that work, that is what the transformation has been about. Not about what I look like, to anybody else. It's how I feel in myself. And that, like I said, that is the real work, and that's, that's the good stuff. And so if you're watching this right now and you have, you're in that place and you don't know where to turn, you don't know who to trust or anything like that, just please reach out to me, in a message, in a comment below this thread, email me, arrange a phone call, and I will try and talk through your options with you, and sometimes just talking about it, talking and processing things like this can really help. So it's not a pressure or any pressure on you at all. And some people aren't ready, they aren't ready to take that next step, and that's okay. And sometimes people have phoned me up and they've had a chat, and and we've kind of talked it through, and they're just not ready yet, and that's okay, because they've said, actually, you know what, I've talked to you, I like the sound of what you do, I think I can work with you, but just not quite yet. And that is their decision, and I will always respect that. You know, there was a time that I definitely wasn't ready, and I had to be ready in order to move forward, in order to kind of want to kind of, you know, to go with this. So anyway, it's never going to be about pressurising you, because it's not worth it. It's not worth it for me, it's not worth it for you. And, you know, you have to be ready. But if you want somebody to talk through, then just, you know, reach out, get in touch, and I'll be happy to do that with you. And yeah, and, you know, but then I guess if you're not ready that right now, at least, you know, because I've had people that say, but when I am ready, I know that I'm going to be contacting you again, because it's almost like provided them with some hope that, you know, and some feeling of positive that when they're ready, then they've got somewhere you know, somebody's door to knock on, or somebody's phone to ring, or whatever you want to, you know. But yeah, and that's kind of instilled some hope in them, so they don't feel that everything is hopeless. So that's kind of like added some positivity to them and their life. So even if it's just that, you know, then please, you know, get in touch. Don't just be sitting there thinking, you know, head in hands, I just don't know what to do, I don't know what to do for the best, or anything like that. You know, reach out, that's what I'm here for. So if you're watching on the replay and you have any questions, or, you know, like I said, you want to reach out, then please just say hi, put any questions below, email me, message me, whatever feels right for you. And I look forward to speaking to you. And, you know, obviously, you know, keep posting as within the group and stuff. We're all here for you. And just reach out when you need to, because that's what we're here for. All right, take care. I'm sorry, I've got a bit of a cold today, so I'm feeling a bit sort of sluggish. But it's always good to be in the group and to say hi and that. So lots of love to you. Have a great day, whatever you're doing, and I'll speak to you again soon. All right, take care. Bye bye.